can see that you are on mute. Could you please unmute and talk? Hello. Hi, Evelyn. Could you please unmute and talk? Yes. We have already contacted Evelyn. Hope she will join in 2 minutes. Could you please wait for 2 more minutes?
Unmute.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Evelyn. How are you? This is Melinda, right?
Hello.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, welcome on stage, Evelyn.
Thank you.
So before you start your presentation, I would like to give a brief introduction about you to the audience. So Evelyn Philomena Zucker is a sacred teacher and healer of the heart. She is a certified holistic life coach, professional sound, contract reader, and a compassionate guide based in the Netherlands. Evelyn helps high achieving women to stop burnout blues by reconnecting them with their soul and guiding them back to love. She is the CEO of her company, Heart Essence Coaching, and she is also a single mom. Evelyn has documented her personal transformation journey in an ebook titled Pioneer of the Light, a personal journey from the ego to the heart, which is available in both Dutch and English. Evelyn, as a powerful channel and catalyst, lovingly leads her clients to their authentic selves. Her mission is to awaken higher consciousness, foster empowerment, and spread unconditional love. That's really a great introduction, Evelyn.
That's a beautiful introduction. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So you can prepare.
Yes, so thank you, everyone. Thank you, everybody who's attending this session. And, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, because this is a global session and we all have different time zones. As Melinda so beautifully introduced, my name is Evelyn Filomena Zwicker. I am presenting today about Burnout, Your Awakening, Your Springboard to Awakening. And I run a business called Heart Essence Coaching, which consists of heart healing and coaching. Before I dive into the presentation, I think it would be a good idea for all of us to connect to our heart space. There are a lot of presentations going on, a lot of activity within the mind, and I think it's good if we start connecting with our hearts, especially for this presentation. And so I'd like you to join me in just closing your eyes and putting your feet on the ground and just taking a couple of deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just breathe in love and light through the nose and breathe in love and light. Breathe out through the mouth. And just let everything go. And allow yourself to connect to your heart by letting go of the mind and your thoughts. And just really allowing yourself to come into the now. And just imagine roots coming down from under your feet, going deep into the ground, connecting you with Mother Earth and the earth energy. And at the same time, imagine a beautiful beam of light coming down, coming above you from the heavens, bringing in this beautiful stream of divine love, of pure light, of Christ consciousness, and illuminating your field, and just draw it down all the way from your crown chakra, reaching your heart. Now the earth energy and the cosmic energies, they all find each other within your heart and they form a color. And just place this color in the whole of your energy field. And know you are now connected to the earth, and you are now connected to divine love, the universe, and to all that is. Okay, well, I hope that was all nourishing for you. I'm going to start with my presentation. I am you just have to hang on here for a sec because I'm not used to air meet, so I need to figure this out. But I will do this in a, let's see. Where's my presentation? Melinda, I can't find my presentation. Can you help? Okay, well, guys, it's just going to go without my presentation then, and that's fine too. I guess that's the way it's supposed to be. So the presentation is called Burnout, Your Springboard to Awakening. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to discuss three key points: the rational approach versus the holistic approach, suffering as one of the key disempowerment programs, and how burnout awakens you to your power. But before we start, let me ask, how many people think men have, or let me rephrase the question, who has a higher rate of burnout, men or women? And you can just say it in the chat. Let's see what's coming up in the chat. Well, most of you are right. It is the women. Now, why is that? Well, there are a number of causes, and they're usually stress related, right? Be women, we have to juggle so many roles. We have to be mothers, we have to be employees, and we have to find our balance within these roles. And we also put these high expectations upon ourselves. We have to be perfect in everything we do. And society expects us to be perfect. And we're also bombarded with these models of women that are perfect, right? You have the sex goddesses in the magazines, or you have the size zero women. And so we're kind of given these images of how we are supposed to be as women, kind of these super women, and nobody can live up to that. So, who can actually relate to that, to this idea of juggling? I mean, I definitely can. I mean, I'm a single mom and I have a child and I have a puppy and I have a business, and sometimes I really don't know where my head is. And I think one of the other causes is also because we are living in this information society, this digital society, where so much of information is bombarded at our system, and we are expected to react right away. Well, our systems, our bodies are not built for that. We're not wired to access all this information. So at some point, we can get this overload in our system. And if we're sensitive, and most of us are sensitive, we get this overload. But those are kind of the, some of the causes behind burnout. And I wanted to delve into the why. I mean, why do we get stressed? Yes, we get stressed because we have to juggle so many roles, and we put these expectations upon ourselves and also have these patterns of people pleasing. But there's a deeper reason why we get burnout. And one of those is due to programming. Now, what do I mean by programming? Programming means the programming of limiting beliefs or of conditioning of beliefs that you have experienced whilst growing up. And these can be limiting beliefs of unworthiness, of not being good enough, of being a failure. And you wouldn't believe how deep these beliefs can go into your system. And many people are not aware that they've been programmed with these beliefs. And so it's important to identify these beliefs. And when we look at burnout, it's actually a short circuit of your system, isn't it? I mean, you are burnt out. There's just no go anymore, right? That the whole system is overloaded. And I remember when I had my burnout, I mean, I was just sitting on the couch after I'd gone through my first divorce. I had a high powered job, and everything just fell apart because it was meant to fall apart. And it fell apart because I had been pushing myself. And that's what we women do. We push ourselves. We push ourselves to succeed. We push ourselves to be great women. And we keep on living from the will and not from our hearts. And that's where the disbalance happens in our system. We are meant to be balanced, happy human beings, right? Living a fulfilling life. And we can do that. However, if we keep on living from the will, then our resources get burnt out. And it's sort of this masculine energy that we're living from, right? So This masculine energy consists of control and living from the will, and this kind of this doing energy. But what it's not balanced with is the feminine energy of softness, of allowing. And I was one of those people who was definitely working, from my mind. I was not connected with my heart at all. And what happens when you're not connected to your heart? Well, you're disconnected to your body. And maybe you can relate to this, because when you are in your mind the whole time, you can't feel your body. It's just go, go, go the whole time. And you can't feel what's going on inside. And what's going inside is your truth. That's where your wisdom is. That's where your truth is. And this is something I had to discover, because if I look back at my life, at everything I've experienced, I've had two burnout, well, several burnouts, but one big burnout, two divorces, and several narcissistic relationships, and they really brought me to my knees. And in the sense that I found myself, I had to find my self love, and I see my life also as a quest for self love and my truth. And I think that's why the burnout is so essential as a key catalyst for discovering your truth. I mean, I was able to find my truth and to find my yeses and my nos. Because when we are in the space of wanting to get ahead and having to live up to these expectations, and society creating this image of the perfect life by having the house and the partner and the car, and sort of these um, materialistic goals, then you forget who you really are. You disconnect from your truth, and that's what happened to me. I had the beautiful husband, I had the beautiful house, I had a beautiful car, and I had a beautiful career. You would say from the outside I had everything, but from the inside it was empty. It was empty. And a mentor said to me, you need to do this course in which you learn to connect with your heart, and you start elevating your consciousness and expanding your heart and expanding your consciousness, and letting go of all these limiting beliefs that had piled up in me, because I had come from a place of unworthiness and was looking for love in all the wrong places outside of myself. And so some of you can probably relate, if you have a burnout or are close to a burnout or have had a burnout, that it all piles up. All these limiting beliefs within us, that they start piling up. There's this tension. And there's this voice, right? That's the inner critic that tells you you're not good enough. You can't do this. You can't succeed. You can't be successful. You're ugly, or whatever. And it just takes you down, and it takes you down, and it takes you down. And that's what happened to me. But ultimately, when you've reached that point of no return, which is what a burnout does, right? It brings you to the blank page. It brings you to your knees so you can see the illusion of your life. And many of us, and I had that as well, feel like victims when they're in the burnout, because why me? What did I do wrong? Why do I have to suffer? And it's not a punishment. You're not being punished for not succeeding. You're being shown a way to your truth. And when you realize that, that's when you can make a shift and see your burnout as a blessing. Of course, it's with every crisis, right? When you're in the crisis, you can't see the silver lining. You don't want to see the silver lining. It's always when you're out of the crisis, that's when you see the silver lining. But when you're in it, you can't see it. But when I was also going through my burnout, I actually heard source telling me you're going to be okay. It's going to be tough, but you're going to be okay. And I called this presentation Burnout, Your Springboard to Awakening, because it awakens you to the real you. It's a catalyst for finding your truth, and also for awakening the divine feminine in you, because you've been in this masculine mode the whole time, and we've been programmed to be in this masculine mode. And this masculine energy of power and control has been, prevalent for centuries. And the women, and luckily we are all women in this summit, they are rising up. They have found their voices, and we need to find our voices to balance this male energy, because look what's happening in the world right now. The male energy has been dominant without the balance of the female energy, without the balance of the softness, of the trust, of the intuition, of unity consciousness, instead of separation. And that's what the masculine energy does on its own. It creates separation. It creates separation from your heart, right? Power, greed, control. Those are not loving ways of being. And we are asked to return to a loving way of being, to a heart-centered way of being, because that's who you are. And that's who you're supposed to be. And we're not supposed to be these robots that go about people pleasing the world and depleting our own energy and serving others and forgetting our truth and not staying in our power, because that's also what the burnout did for me. It awakened me to my power. It made me realize I have a voice. I have a voice, and I can say no. And I choose me. And with that voice, I claim back my power. Because so many of us give our power away to our men, to our mentors, to teachers, to coaches, to parents. And then we disempower ourselves. But the moment we stand up and say, I claim back my power, that's when the shift happens. Because you are sovereign, empowered creators here to create your life from love, and not from the will, but from the inside out. And that's what the divine feminine does. And that's what my burnout did for me. And to tell you the truth, the first time I got a burnout and I went through my first divorce, it was as if I hadn't really gotten it. I had to go through a second divorce and several narcissistic relationships in order to really get it. But now I can stand before you and say, this is me. I'm speaking my truth, and I'm proud to speak my truth. And I encourage you to speak your truth and to see whatever crisis in your life as a catalyst for awakening, as a blessing to discover the true you, and as a key to living a happy and joyful life. So I think I've reached the end of my presentation. It went completely different to what I expected, but that's okay. That's going
Yes,
with the
I
flow.
am here. I am here. So, Evelyn, thank you so much for the great speech today. So, we do have a question from our
Yes,
audience.
are there any questions? I'm seeing here in the chat. Thank you for your words. Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad to hear that what I was sharing was insightful. Is anybody here who is listening? Do you have a burnout, or are you close to one, or are you yeah? Let's see. Does anybody have a question? It doesn't look like there are any questions. Maybe I can't see them.
That
You know,
your words were so uplifting and full of wisdom. Thank you for sharing your valuable insights.
oh yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Evelyn. Yes, today we'll post you the questions to your email. So right now we are running out of time. So thank you so
Okay.
much for the
Thank you so much, everyone, for
Enjoy
attending
our
and listening. And
session.
in my resources, you can find links. There's a beautiful meditation for heart healing. So I really recommend you download it. It's free and it'll help you to connect to the truth of you.
Yeah,
Thank you so
definitely
much.
we will download. Thank you. Have
Bye
a great
bye.
day. Bye-bye. So ladies and gentlemen, please do